morning, everyone. Well, thanks for joining us today in our session. So today we want to move beyond the hype. Everyone is scared about AI everywhere. But what we want to talk about is success stories, the actual executions. I'm joined with three leaders in different domains, and we want to hear what are the real success stories and to get a blueprint how we can execute this in everyone's organization. Word number one for this is Hazem Ahmed, and let me start. I will try to organize this panel into 4 rounds, time permitting. The first round will be about strategy, and the first question here is for Kevin. So whenever. So Kevin, you're using a no middleman approach, where business becomes a product manager. How you can co-build AI's business in just 2 weeks or so?
First of all, good morning everyone, and Assalamu alaikum. Thanks for having us, Kanoo. So when I say no middleman, just to clarify, right? I mean, we as an organization don't have business analysts. And when I joined this organization about a year back, it's a family business. So I traditionally not invested in a lot of resources to an IT perspective. So you never has business analysts. Then when I joined, I said, we got product managers. No one was a product. So then I had to pivot and try to get to basically to see how we can leverage the institutional knowledge that is already available this way. So we internally by post the business. So how we have been able to deploy some of these very quickly. Won't get into the detail purpose, so we have time for that. But what we have done is when we go and engage with business, we obviously initiate that speculative about that they put figure out this works. Who are the ordinary? They are doing their work, they are for years or so they know exactly what the process is, or where the bottlenecks are, and potentially has some suggestions also. But they don't have the right tools or mechanisms to make that change, right? They don't have with its perspectives like it is that we as ID have. So the best is to join first units, but they become a preference to rewrite them. We have the various enterprise application that with both platform where we give them the opportunity to experiment the best portfolio us, and sometimes do some white coding as well. With all the time maintaining sure that the governance security things are managed. So you don't need them like, okay, go whatever you want, I sit there. So that is kind of cornerstone of the common that produce to IT. So it after your you stay person with the regulator.
Perfect. Interesting. So you're using web code and you're using AI to accelerate AI. Perfect. And actually, this is what one artist made for the latest 3.5 code is. He said this is the first robot that they used AI to accelerate the release. Yeah, interesting. Okay. And next question is for so Orlando, you're a Braze company, and you have forward deployed resources on data scientists and AI to work hand-in-hand with companies. So my question to you is, how does this hands-on model help on innovation to overcome the go versus no-go decision on difficult AI projects?
Yeah, so thank you for having us. And as a quick introduction, Braze is the leading customer engagement platform and AI decisioning engine. Braze's AI capabilities have been built to solve specific point problems in the consumer marketing space. And one of those that companies, particularly enterprise companies, are spending millions of dollars every year on is solving the challenge of decisioning engines and being able to do one-to-one personalization at scale. And so this is something that I'm sure many of you are familiar with, the complexities of applying reinforcement learning into kind of decisioning engines and agents. And there are a number of different factors there that make that particularly particularly challenging. And so being able to bring a team of Braze's data scientists to work with our customers' data science teams. And it's worth saying that the best collaborations and the best results have always happened with the smartest data science teams because they understand their data the best. They also understand the size and scale of the problem when it comes to doing one-to-one personalization at scale. So that's the reason for bringing in the forward deployed data scientists into these projects, because it helps guarantee better outcomes and faster time to value. And it also helps overcome that challenge of actually deploying kind of the no-go on these bigger projects. So those are some of the kind of factors of bringing a team in from our side to support.
That's great thoughts. Okay, Deepak, you've noted that most enterprises AI products fail within 90 super more. So my question is, from your perspective, what are the root causes of these failures, or how does your foundation first approach fix them?
Good morning, everyone. First of all, thanks for having us here. And I just want to mention that the numbers which I have quoted is not from me, my side. This is the MIT number which they have quoted last year. And 95% of the GenAI projects, mostly doesn't move to production because of a lot of other challenges. So with experience, what we are trying to do it, we understand that basic POC is the easiest task. But to productionize it, scale it, observability, then also governance, these are the major tasks which actually bring the real value, operation excellence. Because what will happen once you do the POC, right? Business will say, okay, now it's working perfectly. Let's roll it out. Give it to the 100 people who are on the operational side. Then you start thinking of, okay, is my data is right way, because the POC, most of the time we do in the synthetic data also. Is my data quality is correct? Because in AI, it's like garbage in, garbage out. So that's from that point of view, I have mentioned first the foundation, first approach, where we should make sure that they have a quality data. We have the proper governance mechanism. We do have the observability where we can track, monitor everything. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I think you touched a very important point, which is the technology was no longer as a bottleneck. I think bottleneck was AI adoption. And production is, first of all, the quality, foundation of the data is consumed by AI. And also, I would say, the human factor. The trust the AI and other human is using this to support them, or there's a fear of this in the best AI. Okay, so that's now going to the second round of the panel, which is around execution. I think that would be very interesting round. So, Kim, I'll go back to you. So, you managed everything from Shadow, oil and gas to promote and other verticals. So, with so many opportunities, how do you decide which shiny AI crosser is worth the investment and which is of distraction?
Yeah. So all of them were shiny. I mean, what is not shiny depends on what perspective you look at it at. So the perspective that we are to look at the AI or the shiny opportunities or initiatives kind of like there's basically a couple of things. So one is how cross stages are binary with no sync. No brain, I mean, how those stages are aligned with the business objectives, the KPIs, or roles, etc., etc. How will it move the lever for business, not for a purpose? So, then we have a very clearly structured prioritization matrix that we have per health organization. So the key tenets of it, 4 aspects of these career signatures are following. One is, okay, first, very not an epical right. Second is, which is delivery price ROI, which is named by various point. ROI from business perspective aligned to the business status words. Third is cost, right? So, is it going to cost me $1 million, even if this delivery is invest ROI, and it's low hanging fruit. So it's $1 million compared to something which is $5,000. That's something really. So it's a matrix there. And the fourth one is in terms of what I call as readiness. So it's a combination of multiple things. Your data readiness, infrastructure readiness. Well, a lot of these things I have seen just that, for Maria leadership. Is where customer first one, right? The two V's. So I was here to what Deepak was saying, exactly we have the same challenges. All of us in this room have the same challenge. When it comes to data, it does not the readiness variable. But the fourth point becomes very critical. So sometimes the business key is here urgent from competitive perspective, because if you don't do it, somebody else will it. What the US market share. So then you have to see how you can pivot. You can communicate your readiness journey in terms of data infrastructure parallel. That's how we can harness other reliable data sources which have already cleaned other infrastructure that use particularly Ether is say this is the 50 so and use other data sources which are already very available without information spaces. So these four things that you help us decide which shiny
Well, that's very interesting. The blueprint for production from ROI, cost to readiness, and more importantly, the time mark, how soon that can be delivered. Thank you for that insights. Okay, Orlando. In a recent Gartner research, they mentioned that 2024 was 2 years. The buy versus bid, the choices was almost 50-50. But in 2025 last year, people are now going to the buy 75% buy for partner versus 25% value give ups. So my question to you is, at what point should the enterprise leader stop trying to build an AI engine or solution in-house and buy either proven solution or partner to cope with those investment case?
Yeah, I think everyone here has been in the industry long enough to know that this isn't the first time you're going to have this conversation, or the last. Build versus buy has always been a topic and a very important one. From Braze's perspective, we actually have taken a stance and philosophy of what we're calling composability of AI, because there would be key components of your stack that either need to be built in-house, maybe very specific business problems that you're needing to solve. But there are components of that we can bring to the table. And for me, I think as leaders in this space, there's a few areas that are really important. One is understanding what those point solutions are that are in the industry and what are available that are going to be able to solve specific problems that you have. And I also go back to buying proven technology. I think buying the latest trend, you don't know if that's going to be viable in 6 or 12 months' time, or how well it's going to be supported by the underlying platform. So Braze, our reinforcement learning engine, our decisioning engine, was built 5 years ago and is extremely proven, and you talk about some examples in there. So I think from our perspective, we know we're coming to the market with a product that is demonstrates the value. Now, I think we're getting some great examples there around things like time to value. I think by being able to go and buy, you are going to get your time to value. And you're going to be guaranteeing, because Braze has proven that you're going to actually get the returns for that particular need that your organization actually has. So build versus buy is going to be here. What I see as being really interesting in the market is people not knowing what their decision criteria are. They maybe haven't bought this before. So how do you decide, if you've got 2 or 3 competing products, which one to actually select? And I've heard some wild stories about how people have actually gone about making those decisions, including just looking at LinkedIn profiles who had the best PhDs. So, at what point do you actually do that? And I think, again, that kind of comes back, especially the enterprise level, that you need to have proven technologies. So,
yeah. Thank you for that. Next question is for Deepak, and it's about the scalability. So, when you scale AI from pilots to 2,000 studios in an organization, why observability is so critical for keeping the system trustworthy?
You see, when we are talking about scaling the solution, right? So it's what POC that way, so that part is already covered. we saw businesses see the value. Now it's about the scaling it. Now, when you're talking about scaling, they are going to be 100 people, 200 people. It may depend upon the kind of the size of the organization. The trust factor is very important. If you once or twice you break the trust, that means your solution and option and everything we will start going down. So that is why you mentioned observability. There are 4 components within the observability. Start with the accuracy. That is where it's very important that I can say from the ML ops or LLM ops checks upon the use cases where you can also do the accuracy checks, drift in the data or anything. Second is the usability. Are this particular solution is okay, business wants it, scale it, are the people using it? If it is not there using it, why they are not using it? So having a governance with the business on the monthly connect basis to understand why, what solution, how you're using it, or what are the different personas of the people who are using. Even might be there chances that one solution what you have built it, there might be the executives who are using it for some different work tasks. There is some lower level guys who are using for some different tasks. The third is the uses. Are they using it properly? Then the traceability, everything is getting traced or not. Because that is also important because what we see nowadays, if you look at a platform, you have a lot of things. You can download it, you can do it, you can generate everything. But are you getting traced or not? Who is doing what on the platform? Now the last of this is the cost. Everything comes with the cost. Now, many of the cases you have found that okay, OpenAI is good and everything is working fine. Once the people started using it, a tokenization started going up, then the businesses started asking that this cost is going up. So all these factors comes begin under the observability, where when you want to scale it, you have the justification why it is consuming it, what kind of problems or queries the businesses are asking, or in how much is the tokenization for that. And that's where as a analytics team, it's not only providing the platform, but also when they ask, okay, what is the breakdown of the cost of this application? We have to showcase that I can say it's a value proving how much you are investing in that, and then how much the ROI you're getting, because obviously you operationalize in the organization.
Great point. I mean, you touched very important point about durability, and also AI is non-deterministic and it can give surprising results. So at MSCOM, you rolled out AI chatbot to 80,000 internal employees. We learned a lot from, of course, we had a lot of UOT business, but we learned a lot from the observability of post-deployment and how the critical employees interact and react that will AI and also be improved as we go. With us. So the third round is about success and efficiency, and actually it's related to that trust part that covered and its exchange management. So I believe the ad option is 20% technology, 80% human factor for people. So how do you build trust so that employees actually use the AI tool instead of resisting what they can feel about them?
Yeah, so there is no magic formula. We all know this, the rule. It's a daily thing where, first keep on reinforcing the message that AI is not here to take the job. If you don't use AI as a player, using AI potentially replace it, which means I think on the upstream. One of the things that has helped in our organization is the path where they have the call business and at the grass. So we started the pub management, but since we are involving the business in developing applications, so they pick up part and parcel of that application. How it becomes their day, right? So since they have so much skin in the game when you put up in the application, we fortunately don't have that much resistance, at least for that particular distribution, who have motivated the application to pass. Having said that, it's a constant thing, right? The other department, then they spread the word. So rather than us doing the marketing or sales about AI benefits, so shipping division, we have developed something for them. They are talking to the travel division, hey, talk to this AI team, adopt this. They work with us. It's definitely not replace anyone, because actually accentuated our activity structures. So that kind of internal messaging, report it adopt channel or a channel, but that really does break some it. Then the travel division comes here and so they have done something for shipping and he put something for us every day. So that I think, formal than liaison between end users see the full, but it doesn't happen overnight. There's no secret magic formula. So the trust element, more you engage end users as part of your development building process, be transparent and listen to them, that builds trust. Your trust is not something you can buy.
Yeah. That's a very clever strategy. So I think that the key point here is not closing the eye on your business, but asking business what they really need, co-build this with business. That will drive adoption. The business is not by getting a strange or something that is not even aware of.
So actually managed to turn the impediment of not having enough resources in IT or the business analysts into our favor.
That's a clever strategy for us. Orlando, next question is about success story. So you work with Uber to modify convergence capacity using the Al-Futtaim platform. And tell us more about this project and business and what you did for them and what the business outcome was.
Yeah. So that's it's obviously a marquee logo for us, and in a world in which they had very successfully building reinforcement learning for some of their markets, primarily the US, with a very large data science team and huge investment. They were looking for something that was more flexible to roll out for specific use cases in other markets, which have different output requirements and different sets of dimensions that they would be feeding in. And so they needed something that was going to have that flexibility, which is where we fit into the picture for being able to support driving conversion, particularly for a download to first ride in specific markets. So that's what we're doing with them. I can't talk about the numbers, but yeah, it's been a very successful partnership. I also just want to just touch on the piece there and like building trust with teams, because you're not only buying technology, but you're buying a partnership and you're buying, we've always talked about the forward deployed data scientists. But as part of every engagement, we actually take the marketing teams through what we call an AI Academy. And that's actually taking people through the kind of the nuts and bolts of machine learning and AI in the marketing space, by educating people about the difference between LLMs or Gen AI, between supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning. People start to be able to understand how to actually apply those in their work. So by knowledge is power in that regard. And it also enables them to have better conversations with their data science teams, because typically when I'm in a workshop, we get two tables, one of my marketing team and one of the data science team. They're not as integrated because they need to be. I would go back 3 or 4 years, we'd see the same thing with product teams. Product teams and marketing teams now sit almost seamlessly. I think there's still work to do to bridge that gap with data science and the business. And one of those is through being able to do very collaborative workshops.
Yes, the story with us. Keyback. So this is about generative AI, almost topic now. So you categorize generative AI in three categories: deputy agents, converse agents, and autonomous agents. So can you describe which type of these agents mean and which one of these should a company always build in-house versus pass down the matter and more?
I think I will just add on the build versus why I think. So there are three, as I mentioned, right? So one is the utility agent. It is more, you can understand like a co-pilot, which is doing your day-to-day job, like summarization of the emails or writing the emails and all this. The second one is the knowledge agent. So that is where the complexity gets started, because it's not just only about the generative AI. Sometimes you have to invent the predictive AI also aspects in this. Where on the, for example, let's take the supply chain, right? So there is an agent where you ask, okay, what is the inventory of this item? Now, once you get to know, okay, the inventory is lower, can you know the inventory is lower? So what is the demand for this particular item going forward for the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks? Depends upon the kind of industry we are working upon. Then for that, it has to run the predictive in the back end to understand, okay, what is going to be my sales through rate as well as the demand if the item is going into the promotion, right? And based on this, it has to place the order also to the supplier. All these things needs to be automatic. Then only it will be going to trigger, we call it an agent API, right? So this knowledge-based agents require a lot of information, which is not only from the side there, like I said, the data science point of view or the GenAI point of view, but a lot of information which is required from the business point of view. There, for example, the item might be low selling item, right? So inventory, I already have a safety stock sell off. So I know not every time I have to order it right away. It might be I already have the safety stock, so it's going to check all these aspects and then will require. So for these kind of areas, what I feel is it should be in-house because there are a lot of different business functions are getting involved with this, from the supply chain side, from the sales side, the category environment teams, all those aspects. And the third one is the automation, which is more about the IP kind of thing, whatever the process has been automated, and for whatever layer we can include the API component in that. So I still believe the knowledge is something which has to be in-house. Rest of the can be the buy.
Okay, thank you. So I was just informed we have 5 minutes. Let's have a light touch on the last round, which there is a part two over there. Maybe 1 minute each. So, good thanks. We did it. It's about AI. So, there are many misconceptions about AI. So, maybe in 1 minute, what is the one AI myth you wanted to pound for the users going to them?
Yeah, so there are many, right? So given the 1 minute kind of straight, I think I touch on one that I hear all the time. And even from years in industries, that which LLM do you recommend that we invest in? Like, is it enterprise version of Claude, enterprise version of ChatGPT, or Copilot, etc., etc. So that is my view, because AI is not a good, it's a capability. And you have to know what, okay, you need some kind of LLM because there's no point in investing in getting them in the one deeper, they become a tomorrow. You can plug and play, but from the LLM perspective, like AI is not kind. AI is equally, which includes your so things that scope as a kind of process data reduced options, say, on a post.
Great, thank you. So learn what this is about Uberpops. So VR is not net, say not forget. Loading the maintenance humans. So my question is, how do you manage the daily model ops to keep your system running correctly and focused?
Yeah, I mean, that's where having a team and actually going through a process of enabling everybody to understand how it's being applied, having the observability piece in place. Those are, the fundamentals that go above and beyond just selecting an LLM to having something that delivers true value to the business.
Okay, thank you. The last question is for Deepak about data depth. So do you think enterprises over-invest in proprietary AI knowledge while under the desk in data quality here?
I think this is Lord Satya and Papkin is happening right now, because I think we am learning from the last 10 years, 15 years. It's always said about if data is always in Narvino. But in AI and what you want to build, first the data quality is the most important aspect. Where you can't expect AI to do the magic and spill the output the way you want it. So that's why you say that that within Narvino, so first and foundation is the data quality. That has to be fixed.
Okay, thank you. So, if I want to summarize 3 key takeaways from today's panel is speed matters, but cost matters more. Don't build what you can buy pretty and effectively. And fix your data foundation before you build BI house for us. So, our panelists, Kevin, one, Deepak, thanks for your oversight and sharing your sets of stories with your organization and cool that. Audience, thanks for attending, and I hope we have together enterprise validated blueprint by your dawn buzzers. Here we go.